because they were coming for a larger purpose. They wanted to take the human resource from the African continent, which was us, the most valuable resource on the African continent, and they had some plans to build their own civilization and use the wealth of our knowledge and understanding to do it. So they would strip us from our families and strip us naked and take us to these dungeons where they would pack us in like sardines in the dungeons first, starve us half to death so we would become weak and we could barely fight, and then they would force us to get up and they would put us on the water on these prisons on the ocean called slave ships. The first one was called the Good Ship Jesus, captained by Sir John Hawkins. First slave ship they put our ancestors on. And they would always have a white Catholic priest standing there and said, God has ordained now that you are to be the slave of the white race for eternity. Jesus Christ is your new God. And you will love him and you will obey him. And they said, remember this and don't forget it, because if you do, you can die. You no longer have a history. You no longer have a culture. You no longer have an identity. You didn't have a mother, you don't have a language. You are, always will be, a nigga. That's your new identity. You're gonna call yourself that. You're gonna call your children that. You're gonna answer to that. You're gonna bow to that. That is who you are, who you will be. You will not have an identity because you have no self-respect. You are a nigga. You will repeat that. You will answer to it. You will carry that for eternity. That's all you'll ever be, is a servant to white interests and your new God, Jesus Christ. And I, as a white, am a representative of your new God. Do you know your new name? And so many of our ancestors didn't understand, but they was resisting that because they said, no, I got a language. I have a history. I have pride. No, you're not going to strip my identity from me. They might not have known why they were trying to steal the identity, but some just refused to die. And so we would struggle and fight. We would continue to use our language when they weren't looking. We would continue to remember our customs. Some of our ancestors put the watermelon seeds in their mouth when they were leaving because they said, I want to have something that reminds me of home when I leave. I'm an African. I'm a God. I'm a Shanti. I know who I am. They won't take me from me. So I'm going to remember however I can. The sisters will remember the songs they sang when they were in Africa. And during the course of this 250-year period, they killed so many of our ancestors. I mean, imagine they make us just throw our ancestors overboard. They killed so many millions of our ancestors that the Atlantic shark stopped hunting for food in the ocean. And they started traveling on a new migration pattern that they follow to this very day. Because they could follow the slave ships and they knew that there would be fresh meat for them to eat. They stopped hunting in the ocean, the sharks. Because our ancestors became their most enjoyed meal. Some of our people said, you will not take my identity. In fact, it became such a revolutionary process. Some of our people said, I'd rather jump over and die and take my babies with me. Sometimes all groups would just jump over and say, I'd rather die than lose my identity and have no respect and be a slave and a servant to you. And so they said, no, I'm gonna beat this out of you. Because we were rebellious, we didn't want it. They said, what's your name? And that black man would say, my name, I'm Shakti. He said, you are a nigga. And they would take that whip and they would rip through the back of the brother. He said, I'm God, I'm Lord. You'll never change me. And many of our ancestors died fighting, never giving up their identity, never accepting anything less than being proud, productive African people, the beginning of civilization. But see, they would rip through the backs of our ancestors saying, I will make you submit to a new identity. Because unless I strip your self-respect from you and you can answer to a new identity, I can't do what I intend to do, so I'm going to preach. Some of us didn't break. That was hard to imagine, but some brothers were so revolutionary, they said, man, I will starve myself. I will kill myself before I let you take my identity and make me something you want to be. So the white people say, no, you got to eat, boy, because I got something for you on the other side. So they would take a hammer and bang the teeth out of our ancestors and shove a muzzle in their mouth and shove slop down the throat. This is how we got here. This is what happened. There wasn't no easy way to get here. And so then, we were fighting the whole way. Don't ever let nobody tell you we didn't fight. We fought all the time, the entire process, the whole way we fought. So sometimes they say, you know what, they're getting too rebellious. They would tie us together, 10, 15, 20 at a time, sometimes 40 or more, and then wait, watch them. And if the sharks weren't so full from eating our ancestors, of course they would just attack and eat us right when we went in the water. But sometimes they were so full from eating they couldn't even eat. So one by one, tied together, weighted down with rocks, our ancestors would just sink into the ocean. And even though we don't know what's at the bottom of the ocean, one thing we can guarantee ourselves, that our ancestors' DNA. But you see, that was just the first part of this trip. Because once they got us on shore, now the real dehumanization process begins, because now they strip us naked, men, women, and children. And now, you know what I'm talking about, they had to auction us off, you know, but they had to make us look good, so they would take pig lard and shine our bodies up like brothers do with their Cadillac to get it nice and shiny, because Europeans were coming to this market to buy our ancestors. And so we had no right to protect our own selves, and these Europeans would come to buy us like cows or sheep, to work forever, work until they killed us on their plantations, worked us to death in many cases, if you were lucky. Because not all of us made it to the slave plantations. There was another place where the feminization of the black male became really deep and penetrating. It was called the sex farm. And this is the area where the black man had everything that made him a man stripped from him. His job is to protect his black women and children. But now he has been stripped of that, and now he's been trained to be the salesman of the sexual exploit of our people. And so rich whites would go to the sex farms, and they would get these black males who they strip their manhood. He won't kill for his women, he won't die for his race if necessary. He now is the sexual salesman of his own women. And he says, come on, let me show you what we got. Do you like her? Today we call it pimping. But he was forced out of the process of manhood to say, look, here my women are available for you. Let me show you this one. You want to take her in the back and try her out? Let me show you this one. Oh, you can't touch her. She's never been as much as kissed. The price on her, I don't think you got pockets that deep. He became the actual salesperson, which means everything that made him a man had been stripped from him. He was a male who took pride in the sexual exploitation of the very people his manhood demands that he protect. This is a process that they put our people through. But you know, these Europeans can be very freakish. So grown males, grown females is one price, but they really like the little young girls, 5 to 15 years old. And they would train a black male. They would pay him. And in exchange for these nice clothes and economic benefit, he would train these little young girls to dance and gyrate before the world and present themselves as sexually titillating to these grown white males who could then buy them and take them home as sexual slaves, or could take them in the back and have their way with these little girls. Can you imagine black men being reduced to such a level? I want y'all to see this because it's important to understand. Imagine in your mind being so reduced as a man that you actually take pride in receiving gifts and economic benefits from the exploitation of your own women. Can you imagine a time where we were so effeminized and so backward that we would become the salesmen of our own daughters? That we would take our daughters and say, hey, I want you to look sexual to the world. I'm supposed to be a father that protects, but no, that's not what I am anymore. I don't have nothing that marks manhood. Come on, little girl, let me show you how to present yourself to the world as a sexual object so that I can have some benefit. Can you imagine imagine us watching our daughters do this for the world, even training them to do this. Slavery was a horrible day. Even it got to the point where we would do it so long, we would literally be out there with our daughters, showing them how to act feminine. So we become feminine and demonstrate. Teaching them so long, we would even teach the women that we were dealing when they became women. And at some point, it got to the point where we taught our women to desecrate themselves, and then they began to teach our daughters. This was called slavery.
That's right.
I don't know if you remember that process, but it was a horrible process. I don't know how much you know about it. But remember, the European didn't like females at all. He always wanted to reach his highest and noblest aspirations. And that was always to be with a little boy. And so the Europeans would have a room where the white male would train the little boys in oral sex and anal sex. And they would train them. They would shine them up like females. They would put earrings on them and put them in dresses. Put makeup on them. Let them wear fluorescent colored clothing. And the white males would come. They had to have a lot of money. This was a special. You had to have money for this. And they would come and buy our sons and take them home as their sexual playground.
That's right.
I mean, they would just purchase them, our sons, as their daughters, their sexual play toys, to take them home and keep them in the privacy of their own white homes. Slavery was a horrible process where the black male was actually transformed and effeminized so much that we were forced to support a process that turned black boys into objects of homosexual desire. I want you to understand, they even have what they call breeding farms. On the breeding farms, black males, big brothers, well-endowed brothers, young girl 12 years old just get her first period. Whites would travel hundreds of miles down here in Virginia, Southern Maryland, Tennessee. They were all around the country. And they bring the little girl there for him to breed. Some of the whites didn't want to breed from a professional breeding fee to get a black male to be trained to rape the little girl, so they would do it on their own plantations. Sometimes brothers would be forced to do this 10, 15, 20 years sometimes, impregnating all the females. Eventually, after 12 or 13 years, they bring his daughter in there. He raped her. Now he has a daughter, and his daughter and his granddaughter are the same person. 250 years of this, brother. Says there ain't no one day.
That's right.
So we wonder where incest comes from. We wonder where these freaks in our family came from. These pedophiles and the retardation, as the brother said, of the African male spirit to protect and defend, turning upside down and becoming an assaulter, a victimizer of his own helpless, innocent race. And I want you to understand something, because it's important. For over 250 years, white law mandated that you must be a pedophile. It wasn't a question of your opinion of it. The law in this country said you were black, you were a slave, you must do as your white slave master says, and if you don't, you will be killed. You had no option. The law said you must be incestuous. You must be a homosexual. You don't have an option. Homosexuality is your life, and if you fought it and tried to resist it, you would be killed.
That's right.
So don't let nobody tell you that homosexuality's been around forever. You've been around, it's been around for white folks since they've been here.
That's right.
But we have proof. Our reality is proof that you had hundreds of years of laws mandating our complicity with child sexual abuse, incest, rape, homosexuality, and every filthy, degenerate practice you brought with your filthy behind from Europe.
That's right.
And you forced us into this. When we started opening our minds and seeing what's going on, we realized yesterday ain't that much different than today. Dr. Naheem Clark said the people forget their past. Be destined to repeat those mistakes of it. So I want to talk about this because I want to be very clear how this thing works. In order to enslave our people and put us through what they put us through, there was one thing that was critical. Because without this, they knew that they would have to pay a definitive price of their lives. So in order to get us in this condition and avoid the penalty for their crimes, they had to create the surrender of black men. They had to force us as men to surrender our name.
Hey, dog, you gonna eat your cornbread?
Oh, trouble. Don't say nothing.
You talking to me?
Yeah, I think you're talking to you.
No, not at all. I want you to have it. Willie, you mind passing this down to...
Hey, no, I ain't. Pass your cornbread to him. This your cornbread.
Ray, I'm a grown man, okay? I'm not gonna eat this cornbread. If he wants the cornbread, damn, have the
Nah,
cornbread.
if he wants some cornbread, let him go up to the front and get his own portion of cornbread. That's your cornbread. Fuck him. Hey, man, he gonna eat his cornbread, all right? Fuck you.
Ray, look, I don't need you to take up for me. I'm all right. I'm a grown man. I can handle
You
it.
let him have your cornbread, you're gonna be ironing the drawers and cutting his toenails. I know niggas iron.
Maybe I ought to eat your cornbread.
Oh, motherfucker, you can't have my cornbread. That's for damn sure. Cause if you try to take my cornbread, part 2 of my killing spree gonna begin up in here on your ass right now. If you think about my cornbread, they get the taste out your mouth. That's for damn sure. Now fuck him. Fuck that. Cause I'm from New York City, goddammit. Nobody take no cornbread from me. And that go for you and any other you motherfucking farmers wanna try some shit. You fuck around with me, there's gonna be consequences and repercussions.
Mom.
That's right. That's that call for your mama. I paid off your ass out of respect for that woman. But if it wasn't for your mama, I would have broke your little ass down a long time ago. And Jody? Little Jody? You know what I see in her eyes? I see a scared little chocolate bitch. Look up on me. That's what I see. If he's on lockdown, I think you get on your knees and fix it. 20 years, Jody. Let's see what you do 20 years from now.